Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I have to tread lightly today. I stole one of my wife's Diet Dr. Peppers out of the refrigerator. She's very protective of her Diet Dr. Peppers, and I've got a bigger problem. My youngest and his mother are thick as thieves. He'll rat me out. If he sees the Diet Dr. Pepper, he'll go straight to her, and he's got a phone now. He'll call her just to tell her, Dad took one of your Diet Dr. Peppers. So I have to drink this thing before he comes home. Then I have to put it in the trash can and put something over the top of it so that he won't rat me out. This is what I'm dealing with here. Here's John Deaton letting you know he's going to take Elizabeth Warren. He's going to get her out of her seat. Look at this.
Hey everybody, it's John Deaton. Why is Elizabeth Warren so worried about my candidacy? Because she can be beat, and I'm the guy to do it. She's never faced a candidate like me. Doesn't matter whether it's raining, whether it's snowing, I'm gonna grind it out, but I need your help. 4 days to end the quarter. Go to johndeatonforsenate.com and donate today. Thank you. Hey everybody, it's
John's on a deadline. He's trying to raise as much money. I think it's got it's an important date, 4 days from today. So if you haven't, I donated big time. JohnDeatonForSenate.com, and I'm going to put out a special Elizabeth Warren video today so that we can help him along. Now, here on Squawk Box, friends of the SEC and Jay Clayton, they were talking about Bitcoin today.
Let's start with the S&P, which has been slowly, steadily, not even slowly, but I don't know if it's melting up yet, but it's been an impressive advance with no pullbacks, with no 2% pullbacks.
It's true, yeah.
What does that mean for how the duration of this, and is it broadening at this point, too?
Yeah, I think it is healthy as long as it has that broadening trend. The breadth has been incredibly strong. Yesterday was a great example. We had NVIDIA pulling back, and yet the ratio of up to down volume on the NYSE was 6-1. So we've really seen breadth kick in here. The cumulative advanced decline line for the NYSE is at a new all-time high. And that's really as of yesterday. It's not a decisive breakout. That would be another positive development. But just generally speaking, we do want to see the breadth data trending higher with the market. And I think that's what contributes to the sustainability.
What was your last resistance level when you were on? Because we're past that.
Oh, right? Goodness. Yeah, I know. 48.19 was final resistance for the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Well, now it's NA. So, right. I think we were able to arrive at upside objectives. There was one from a breakout we had in Q4, and that was around 52.20, which, guess what, has been met. So this would be a natural place for consolidation, but we just don't have indications of that right now. The momentum is still, as you know, very, very strong. And we can arrive at a more aggressive target from that breakout above 48.19 of about 61.20. And it's been our belief that that's more relevant for 2025.
Okay, 2025. So at this point, what is within the S&P or within, let's say, like even include the Russell? Is it small caps now outperforming? Or do they still have more work to do to catch up?
They definitely have a lot of work to do to catch up, but we have seen some signs of strength there, both in absolute and relative terms.
Is that bullish?
2000. I think that's also bullish. It reflects the breadth expanding to small and mid. It shows risk appetite, and we're seeing that in other asset classes as well. So generally speaking, quite good, and it doesn't look nearly as extended just in its appearance as, of course, the S&P 500 would.
How long would you say gold was in a consolidation phase? How many years?
Multi-years. Multi-year, yeah, something
Almost.
Close to that.
So where could we go?
Yeah, the breakout above that 2063 threshold was a big deal for us, and it allowed us to arrive at an objective intermediate term of about 2280. That's not too far off. But longer term of about 2,500 for the price of gold. We think it'll be sort of a slow moving ship that direction, but the momentum is there. And even right now, as of yesterday, we have what looks like, we call it a flag breakout on the charts. It's when you have a sharp up move, consolidation, and then a short term breakout. So
in a similar vein, I guess, if you believe that it's digital property, Bitcoin is also NA for an upside.
So the Wall Street / government / their complicit media, their Bitcoin propaganda plan is in full motion. All systems are go. Now, Gary Gensler put a video out yesterday, or he retweeted one of his own videos, and so I decided to put that together with Vitalik Buterin's own words and told Gary, hey, now you sued Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson personally. You kept them under lawsuit for 3 years. They spent millions of dollars to defend themselves. When is the Vitalik Buterin Joseph Lubin lawsuit? And don't take my word for it, take Gary's and Vitalik's.
It doesn't matter if you call yourself onshore or offshore. If you make securities available to American investors, you must comply with American laws. The law is clear.
So you said that you guys are looking to incorporate and do this out of Switzerland, and you're purposely, you live in Canada, right?
Yes.
And so you're purposely not doing it in Canada, and you're purposely not doing it in the U.S.
A large part of that is regulatory reasons.
Okay.
So Switzerland, they have a very long and established tradition of, first of all, very friendly banking laws. Also a tradition of stability. So it's not like some tiny tax haven that's going to turn against us the moment that the U.S. government wants them to.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
According to Gary, it doesn't matter, Vitalik. Gary, these guys, nobody deserves a lawsuit, a personal lawsuit, more than these guys. Certainly not Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. They didn't even deserve it. These guys earned it, every bit of it. Okay, check this out. I like this one. I've bought XRP very few times during my career as a trader investor. The AMM, in my humble opinion, will unlock the entire ecosystem, which is currently very undervalued. Let's not forget that it was XRPL that introduced DeFi for the first time back in 2012. Ripple will also benefit. Then, by coincidence, the XRP Ledger AMM hotfix released 24 hours ago in Ripple 2.1.1 is in activation and will be active April 11th. This is AFEC, the fastest any amendment got over 80% and now sitting at 31. Yes. Thanks to all operators. Please remind everyone to update. All right, that's exciting. Well, this is too. Know all this automated market maker talk? Well, this is Ryan Rugg, Global Head of Digital Assets for Citi. Let me tell you what else she's done. Before that, she was at IBM, who was partnered with Stellar. And before that, she was at R3, who was partnered with Ripple for a while. Then they got in a lawsuit, and then that lawsuit was eventually worked out by SBI's CEO, Yoshitaka Kitao, which is an investor in both. So here she is, Ryan Rugg, now Global Head of Digital Assets at Citi.
And how do you solve for that interoperability question? Maybe I'll put that to the middle of the panel to start with, and then work my way out to the edges.
Yeah, I think about what we're doing with the Regulated Liability Network with RLN and working with 12 other banks. We, concluded the U.S. one in July, and we're working with the U.K. one now. Really helps to not just from a technical, but from a legal accounting, what is the proper framework for this to exist and how could it work, right? How can you build out that FMI that is not owned by one entity, right, but is for the interests of the people and the corporations in it? And, we've published a paper on it and it is feasible. And I think that's kind of one of the examples of a hybrid that we can do. But, once those rails are built out and you have open APIs and SDKs for the different central banks, you still need an AMA in the middle, like an automated market maker to kind of mint and burn and exchange the tokens. But I do think that interoperability is key in the future, not just from a protocol standpoint, but from also a token standpoint. You don't want sideload that's recreating the issues we already have,
Very interesting. They need automated market makers. And today, Sam Bankman-Fried got sentenced to 25 years in prison.
So 25 years, as you said, Ed, and I'll just summarize sort of what we heard from Judge Lewis Kaplan here ahead of that sentencing. He said from the get-go he thought that what the prosecution was asking for was too high. Again, they were asking for 40 to 50 years, but he emphasized that was not for the purpose of diminishing the seriousness of those crimes, and emphasized several times in his statement that he was quite critical of what Sam Bankman-Fried had done, and that there needed to be something here that would deter both him and others from these kinds of crimes. He said there's absolutely no doubt that Sam Bankman-Fried's name pretty much is mud around the world right now, but he said there is a risk this man will be in a position to do something very bad in the future. So again, there was a fear of recidivism here, something that the prosecution brought up several times in their sentencing memo, and was obviously very compelling to Judge Lewis Kaplan. He lingered on the words, "This was a very serious crime." He said those slowly, according to our colleagues who are in the courtroom and watching all of this unfold. Said, "I'm not diminishing in any way the enormous harm that he did, the brazenness of his actions, his exceptional flexibility with the truth, his apparent lack of any real remorse, and the need to deter others engaging in comparable behavior." Again, I think what so many people were looking for here, the prosecution, certainly the victims of the crimes that were committed by Sam Bankman-Fried, was a concrete apology, Ed, and that was something that we didn't get from Sam Bankman-Fried when he spoke to the court this morning, and the judge very aware of that fact as he issued the sentencing just a moment ago.
Folks, the real crimes have not even been addressed. Meta Lawman gets it. SBF has been sentenced to 25 years in the penitentiary. Next steps: SBF will appeal the conviction and sentence. Effective altruism crowd will begin a lobbying effort to Biden administration to pardon or commute the sentence. Federal convicts can expect to serve 85% of sentence. So this is the way this goes down. And folks, the real crimes have been covered up. And we're going to talk about some of the real crimes in DAIXRP.com, because these people are sick. And it's not, just as a for instance, what about his parents? Those jokers were buying like multi-million-dollar pieces of property in the Bahamas with this whole racket. What about that organization, that FTX organizational chart that this little kid could not have put together, but his tax specialist father could have? In fact, in the member group, I've shown before. If you look at the names of the companies on that FTX organizational chart, a lot of the names of those companies are named after streets at Berkeley where his father went to college. How about them apples? Now, we're going to talk about the rest of this stuff, because I think this thing, that FTX thing, is tied to so many bad things it's not even funny. Just as another side note, FTX just happened, just by pure coincidence, happened to pop up down in the islands about the same time that guy, the one that owned the island, you remember that guy just, quote, died in prison or was arrested? FTX was born around the same time of his arrest. Just as a side note, pure coincidence. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. If you want to talk about what's really going on, come on into DAIXRP.com. We'll talk about it.